Even with only a couple on. Yes.
Okay, hello everybody. We are going to call the council meeting to order for Wednesday, December 14th. We'll stand for the pledge and please remain standing for a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Thomas, roll call, please.
Certainly. Mr. Delaney?
Here.
Mr. Dern?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Hadley?
Here.
Mr. Seitz?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Vento?
Here.
Mayor Schlegel?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of November 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dern, second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also entertain a motion to approve the expenses for the month of November 2022.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the November 14th, 2022 council meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dern, seconded by Mr. Vento. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Mayor, any recognitions of achievement in the community?
I have none this evening, but I will be doing some in January.
Great, thank you, sir. Civic announcements.
Good evening.
You have to push the button on the right.
I'm sorry, push.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Pam Calco from the Plum Library. First, I just want to thank so many of our community partners, including Mayor Schlegel, the Plum EMS, the Plum Fire Department, and the Plum Police Department, who in October and November came out and did story time with the kids. And it was such a great experience for them to see our community leaders in a different setting. Everyone was fantastic talking with the kids, letting them see the cars and the trucks and turning on the sirens. So thank you all. Everyone did a great job and we're really appreciative and we can't wait to have you back. We had a great year at the library. So if you need anything to entertain your kids during the winter break, we have tons of board games. We have a great play area with tons of toys. So when it gets cold, be sure to stop by the library. We're open and you can hang out. It's a great place to meet other parents. So thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Pam.
Hi, good evening. I'm Karen Hochberg from the Plum Community Center. I'd like to encourage everyone to go and check out our website. We have a website redesign at plumcommunitycenter.net. It has the ability to download our newsletter. The menus are on there for the congregate lunch. We have a lot of parties going on. Every special group is having a holiday party. I'd like to thank the borough for Plum Creek Christmas. We always enjoy participating in that, and we know takes a lot of effort to put it on, so we're grateful for that. And I'd like to thank the Plum Rotary and the Plum Police for their generous contributions to our Meals on Wheels program this year. We really appreciate that. It's the second year they've done that, and it enables us to deliver nice gifts to our homebound seniors. So happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and in January I'd like to come and do a year summary of what goes on at the center. So I'll take a few more minutes. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Any other civic announcements? Okay, seeing none. President's comments. My only comment this evening is to wish you all a very healthy holiday season. It's that time of year again. There's a lot of parties going on, so just be careful when you're out there. And my father used to call New Year's Eve amateur night. So all the people that are not used to be out in the bars and parties are out that night. So just be careful. Citizens comment on agenda items. We did have a few people sign up. I'm going to apologize in advance. Not only, well, I got my glasses on, so I'm having a hard time reading. Matthew Kelso? Yes, sir, please.
Hello.
Works.
So I'm Matthew Kelso. I live at 500 Milltown Road. And I wanted to state my objection to the Hermes Pipeline and Rolling Hills Interconnect. And here are my reasons for that. So neither pipeline or pipeline interconnect especially appear as an authorized principal uses under Section 318, Table 11 of the Plum ordinances, or authorized accessory uses under 319, Table 12 of the Plum zoning ordinances. Plum ordinance Section 306C states that uses not listed are not permitted unless they are determined to be sufficiently similar to permitted uses. The proposed pipeline and pipeline interconnect are not sufficiently similar to any authorized principal or accessory uses to permit this as a conditional use. The authorized uses include compressor stations, processing plants and well pads, but do not include pipelines and interconnects. A pipeline interconnect is different from in the following regards and involve risks and nuisances not present or in addition to the following. So according to PHMSA data, which is the Pipeline Hazardous Material and Safety Administration, there's about 1.7 pipeline incidents per day across the nation. I'm sure you're all familiar with the huge recent leak in Kansas that's dumped 14,000 barrels of oil on the ground. And of course in Pennsylvania, we all know about the Revolution pipeline explosion in Beaver County a few years ago. Also in Pennsylvania, earlier this year, there was a major explosion along the Tennessee pipeline in Pennsylvania. So I just want to say that the well pad associated with this is going to be in Murraysville. So they're going to be getting the impact fees for this. So they might as well be the ones who are taking on the risk of this infrastructure as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up was Don Ziegler. Hope I said that right, sir. Good evening.
My name is Don Ziegler. I live at 40 Crystal Drive in Oakmont. And I just had a question. I attended the hearing that they had in Murraysville. And my question is relative to this Hermes pipeline interconnect. Does that include water or is it just a gas pipeline?
Just a gas.
Yeah.
So
It's just gas.
Just gas. Okay, so if this is approved, then that's not approving the water pipeline to carry water to Murraysville. Because I understand the water pipeline has to go through Plum, and you have to provide approval for that.
Is that correct, Mr. Sabazo?
So I can't say if the pipeline requires approval under a zoning ordinance. I apologize. You know, we've talked about this. We know that the project is out there. We have not received an application. Until we receive any sort of application, I really can't identify how that would be treated.
Okay, but this definitely is just for gas, not the water pipeline.
That's correct.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you, sir. And last but certainly not least, Matt Bento.
Push it back. Oh, sorry. I can hear. Sorry. I'm Matt Bento from 859 Blue Ridge Road here in Plum. I'm here to urge council to do anything in their power to stop this this Olympus Energy well from going in. Part in Plum, obviously, you have some control over it. You don't have any control over the part in Murraysville. But I know that we've got the injection well site that you guys fought against, and I think they're adding to it maybe. And if this other Olympus Hermes well goes in Murraysville, all that's going to do is increase the traffic to the injection well that's already there and increase the amount of waste that they're pumping into the ground, increase the chance for spills, everything like that. So basically, that's just all I wanted to say, that I think that if we're going to be against and try and fight against the injection well, we need to try and stop allowing the drilling wells too, because all the waste that they create has to go somewhere, and if they're around here, it's going to go into that injection well. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Moving on to the agenda to council actions. One second, please. On behalf of the planning and economic, oh, I'm sorry.
This is my first time at a council meeting. I was not aware that there was a sign to speak.
Please come up. Yep, that's fine. Just state your name and your address.
I'm terribly sorry.
No, no worries.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen Hewitt. I'm a resident at 109 Lever Street by St. John's Church. I just wanted to come up to speak about something that's going on at my house, and it turns out at some of my neighbors' houses as well. Parts of our yard have been sinking for a few good years now, and in the past year or two, that has really ramped up, and it's becoming very much a nuisance, but it's becoming a danger to me and people that deal with my kind of problems. I'm a disabled member of the community. I have lumbar stenosis and weak hips, bad knees, things along those lines. And just sinking grounds isn't just a problem for me and the elderly, but just normal people with labor jobs or people with jobs who just stubbing their knee could put you out from working for your family for 4 months. And if not, the way I think about it is just to be crude. Imagine that there's an animal going to the bathroom in your yard, but instead of stepping on that, you're stepping on something that blows your knee out for a month or so, and you can't live your life. But I just wanted to make that aware to everybody here that this is something, a minor thing that might become more apparent with the pipeline that's going forward. But I just wanted to say my piece. Again, I apologize for not signing up for the sign-up sheet, and thank you for listening to me.
Yep, no worries. No
All right,
worries.
thank you so much.
You
Can
bet.
I say something in relation to, Mr. Hewitt lives on Leroy Street, which is the side street of where my house is. And I was out today because Mr. Thomas is aware. I've been having some vibrations in my house. Oh, okay, thank you. So, I've been having some vibrations at my home the last 2 weeks. For some reason, all of a sudden, a couple nights a week, I get these vibrations that last all night. And they're not heavy vibrations, but they are, however, a nuisance. So imagine being in a recliner chair at night watching TV, and all of a sudden these vibrations start. It's like, it's nerve-wracking for me. So I was out today finishing my Christmas lights. I saw Stephen and another neighbor, and I asked, hey, you guys felt any vibrations? And both of them said, no vibrations. We got these sinkholes. We've got to look at them. So I did, and I asked Stephen to come tonight, and I'm glad he did. Just to get something on the record about these sinkholes. His across the street neighbor, he was going to try to make it. He must not have been able to. But he has a couple sinkholes in his front yard. Stevens is in his backyard, I believe, right, Steve?
Also, it's beginning to be in the front as well.
Okay. So I don't know what's going on over there. Everything's a long-established pipes and everything, so I'm thinking it might be some sort of a leak. I don't know what's in line with these, but if somebody could check on that, please, just to alleviate more problems before they start.
Yeah.
That's why, thanks, Steve, I just want to make sure
Of course.
I put some perspective.
I just wanted to make everybody aware.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Are we going to go over there and look at that? All right, great, thank you. Okay, moving on to council actions. Mr. Delaney, on behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve the conditional use request for the Plum Storage Expansion lot and block 1238-C-210, conditioned upon the applicant placing a fire hydrant in the back corner of the property. The borough will review and approve the final placement of the hydrant.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Vento, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the request for the preliminary and final land development SP-01-21 for the expansion of the Plum Storage Facility, conditioned upon the final review and approval of the borough engineer. The applicant shall enter into a developmental agreement with the borough.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the conditional use request from the Hyperion Midstream CU-03-22 for the Hermes Pipeline and the Rolling Hills Interconnect Project, conditioned upon the receipt of the required third-party permits and the final review and approval of the borough engineer.
Motion by Mr. Delaney. Seconded by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Mr. Thomas, roll call, please.
Certainly, on the motion to approve the conditional use request from Hyperion Midstream CU-3-22, Mr. Delaney,
No.
Mr. Dern,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Hadley,
Yes.
Mr. Seitz,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Vento.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Lane.
I move to approve the request for the preliminary and final land development SP-04-22 for the Hermes Pipeline and Rolling Hills Interconnect Project, conditioned upon the final review and approval of the borough engineer. The applicant shall enter into a development agreement with the borough.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor? Opposed?
No.
No.
Roll call, please.
Certainly, on the motion to approve the request for preliminary and final land development for SP-4-22, Mr. Dern,
Yes.
Mr. Doyle,
Yes.
Mr. Hadley,
Yes.
Mr. Seitz,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Vento,
No.
Mr. Delaney.
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Delaney.
I move to enact ordinance 966-22, accepting the dedication of the Colonial Point Phase 2 streets, which includes a portion of Winchester Drive and all of Patriot Court, including the storm sewers in said streets.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to enact ordinance 967-22, accepting the dedication and taking ownership of 4 storm ponds in Colonial Point Phases 1 and 2, as well as certain rights of ways and easements. The lot and blocks include 736-G-30, 736-M-20, 736-S-210, and 736-S-168.
We have a motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, I move to enact ordinance 968-22, providing for the establishment of a stop sign on Patriot Court at Winchester Drive and a stop sign at Old Mill Road, Old Mine Road, and Old Leechburg Road.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Delaney.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Personnel and Management, Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, I move to approve the 2023 public meeting schedule as presented.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Seconded.
Seconded by Mr. Taylor, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the committee, I move to approve the 2023 through 2027 Police Collective Bargaining Agreement as presented by the Borough Manager.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Seitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, I move to promote Officer Timothy Sorolla, sorry,
That's my job.
to the position of Patrol Corporal effective January 1st, 2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, seconded by Mr. Vento. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Corporal Sorolla, I expect to see you in the proper uniform after January 1st.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to accept the resignation of Jim Stesick from the Municipal Authority Board effective December 1st, 2022.
Motion by Mr. Hadley, seconded by Mr. Dern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, on behalf of the Personnel Management Committee, I move to remove Bill Chapla from the Stormwater Task Force as a result of his detrimental comments and unacceptable behavior towards the committee, the borough, and the borough staff.
We have a motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
And that's all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Dern, on behalf of Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
On behalf of the Public Safety Committee, I move to approve the Act 172 Volunteer Firefighter Earned Income Tax Forgiveness List for 2022.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Dern, seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Dern. Mr. Taylor, on behalf of Parks and Recreation.
I have nothing.
Oh, I didn't see that there. I apologize. It does say none right there in front of me. Mr. Seitz, Finance Committee.
Thank you. So on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to adopt Resolution 945-22, approving the 2023 Vision Financial Group Capital Lease Program.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to adopt Resolution 946-22, approving the 2023 Tax Anticipation Note as presented.
We have a motion by Mr. Seitz.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to adopt Resolution 944-22, reestablishing the 2023 real estate tax rate.
Motion by Mr. Seitz. Second. Seconded by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Could you tell everybody there'll be no increase just so it's...
Yeah, this is basically, good point, Mr. Mento. This is a housekeeping matter. We do it every year. It's just reestablishing these rates at the expiring rate.
I move to enact ordinance 969-22, reestablishing the earned income, I just did that. No, the earned income tax rate.
We have a motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the other thing I didn't say that too is there are no increases in this too. That's the important thing. Sorry. Mr. Seitz.
All right. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to enact ordinance 970-22, reestablishing the local service tax rate.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to approve the 2022 budget fund transfers as presented.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself.
And finally, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to adopt the 2023 annual budget as presented.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That ends council actions for the evening. Everybody's favorite time of the agenda is up now, the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our uniformed officers responded to 865 calls in November, and that's around a 4% decrease from October. I'm going to go through this really quick. Our officers have been through a lot of training, both online as well as in-person training in various subjects. What I want to get to is thoughtful citizens. And gentlemen, see if you can see the irony in this. The Kazmarskis delivered cases of skinny popcorn and a card thanking the department in November. Dee Berina delivered homemade cinnamon rolls to officers working on Thanksgiving. Okay, so they eat skinny popcorn and they get cinnamon rolls. And I'm not done. David Johnson of D. Johnson Erie Insurance Company provided Thanksgiving dinner to the officers who were working on Thanksgiving. This is the 13th year that David and his wife have provided those dinners. And then finally, Brianne Loveland delivered a turkey, stuffing, and mincemeat pie to those working on Thanksgiving. And again, I assured that for dessert, they ate that skinny popcorn. Right, Corporal?
I have one question, Mr. Mayor. Did you not get a cinnamon roll, but yet you got a bag of skinny popcorn?
I got nothing again.
You got nothing?
Nothing again.
You must have been really bad for business.
And again, I want to thank the community for the way they treat our officers while they're on patrol, as also while they're working. We're one of the few communities, the only one I can think of, in talking with my peers, where the community comes out and does all this. And this is a monthly thing that they keep bringing up to our officers. I'm still going to put that scale as soon as I find one down there. But right now, they ate skinny popcorn and cinnamon rolls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to thank every member of the community for not including the mayor in their generosity.
I'll second that.
Moving along to committee reports, the that's a tough one. Intergovernmental Cooperative Committee with the Plum Boro School District.
Yes, we met and we discussed moving forward with trying to establish some students that would sit junior council to get students elected on or have them on a junior council with us. And then we also met and discussed how we could get certain groups added into some of our festivals throughout the year, whether it be, academic achievers or some of, maybe the choir or the band, and try to involve them in a little bit more in some of the festivities that we hold throughout the community, throughout the year for the community. So that's it.
It's a great idea. My son was in the band, and they had a blast at the one year they were over at the
Summerfest.
No, at the Christmas.
Oh, Christmas, yeah,
Christmas
exactly.
Plum Creek, yeah. Choirs would be great too. That's good stuff.
Yep.
Finance Committee, Mr. Seitz.
Thank you. So, Finance Committee report. The general fund highlights for the month of November 2022. The Borough recognized revenues totaling approximately $1.3 million and incurred expenses in the amount of $1 million. For year-to-date, our revenues, the real estate taxes are 100% of the budget. We've got $4.4 million this year. And the current earned income tax revenues are also 100% of budget, approximately $4 million. The final quarterly payment on the cable TV franchise revenue was received from Verizon and Comcast. It will end the year approximately $3,000 over budget. The regional asset district funding will also be over budget this year. We've received roughly $750,000 through the reporting period. And overall, the borough's revenues for the year are approximately $15.2 million, and we are trending to end the year with a budget of revenues. On the expenditure side, the borough has expended 84% of the budgets for $11.9 million, and overall expenditures are tracking slightly below budget. So all in all, it's a good year from a budgetary standpoint.
That's it? The mayor's there. Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Mr. Vento, Roads, Equipment, Grounds.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Roads, Equipment, and Ground Committee, my report is as follows. The 2021 paving contractor, Felino Construction, has addressed all problem areas with the paving that they were responsible for. Hot asphalt is no longer available for roadway repairs due to the weather. Cold patching operations will now take place for potholes until spring. And I believe if you do see potholes springing up, if you would get a hold of the borough, either through the website or whatever means you have at your disposal, please let them know, and I'm sure they'll get somebody out as soon as possible. Retrofitting of the retention pond on New Texas Road has been completed. Additional pond retrofits will be scheduled and completed. The annual leaf pickup program ended on December 2nd. There were 135 truckloads of leaf material picked up this season, which equates to 3,828 cubic yards. The Public Works crew started working the two-shift schedule on November 28th to better utilize the workforce during the winter months. All winter maintenance vehicles have been inspected and salt spreaders have been installed in preparation for the winter season. The installation of the Coal Miners Memorial has been completed at the new Municipal Center. The wooden deck that surrounds the memorial is temporary and will be replaced when the memorial bricks have been received, which is targeted for late spring. Preventive maintenance and state inspections were performed on 13 pieces of equipment and trucks and 11 police vehicles. In the weeks leading up to the annual Christmas at Plum Creek event, the Public Works team coordinated and set up the holiday decorations, as well as had employees on site during the event for support. And anybody that was here knows that a new site is still off pretty trouble-free. So I'm happy to report that. And thanks to the Public Works crew and everybody that had anything to do with that. It was a nice event. Every year it should get better from now on. The Christmas tree for this year's event was donated by the Fez family from Kellywood Estates. Schulteis Roofing donated the crane services to load and set the tree in place with help from Public Works employees. On that note, I just want to say maybe in the future, I don't know what's planned for that site, but can we get a large live tree and plant there?
That here?
Yeah.
We could certainly look at that.
I actually got a lot of requests. That night, a lot of people had asked me that, is that a live tree? I said, I don't think so because it's so new here and I think it's not this year. but I'll look into that. So just, keep that in mind. A lot of people have asked about it, and I think it'd be nice, we'd have to get a tree every year donated. We'd have one growing ourselves, so.
You get to reuse it every year.
Right. And last but not least, the Christmas tree, that's it. And also last but not least is I want to also wish everybody a happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Mr. Dern, Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. One thing that, excuse me, one thing Mr. Hatton and I were discussing, the one thing that we did discuss at the Intergovernmental Committee that we overlooked, it's the recent push on mental health. And we spoke about the community beyond the district's reach. So the borough has agreed to working together with the district, with the county, and sort of interconnecting everything so people can get on our website or their website when they're looking for some type of help or somewhere to turn to or look for, that they can have a direct line to get the help that they need before it gets too late. That was the most important thing. And the back to school movie, the borough's going to continue to help them do back to school in September. That's all I have. Mr. Maloney's here for the EMS, so he'll give the monthly report. Brian, please.
All right, so what button do I push?
The one with the little person talking.
All right, does that sound right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Brian Maloney, Director of Operations, Plum EMS. Once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here this evening. For the month of November, we ended up running 245 calls, transported 141 of those patients. We ended up going into other communities 19 times, with 18 of those resulting in transports. So we try to be there for our neighbors. And we needed our neighbors to come into Plum 4 times for the month. So that's only 1.8% of the time EMS was needed in Plum that we had to rely on our neighbors. But we do have that system in place to always be there for the community. Along with providing EMS, we actually, as the mayor talked about with the police, we also had a nice Thanksgiving dinner on behalf of Dave Johnson and his wife. And once again, the 13th year in a row. It's a real nice treat for the crews. They appreciate it, and it's an incredibly nice thing he does. We also had the opportunity to participate in the Christmas of Plum Creek, and we were right there at the drop-off, so we were catching everybody. We had actually a photo booth set up. I don't know if y'all had a chance to see, but we had hundreds of photos taken that day, and they got the pictures right there and then. And people, I'll tell you what, people really enjoyed that, and it was fun to be a part of that. And then lastly, we ended up doing our working with the school district for that Stuff a Bus, for that Toys for Tot program. And our goal this year was once again to try to fill the back of an ambulance from floor to ceiling. I'll tell you what, we had to have multiple vehicles transport all the toys. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And the one Marine that was there that was representing the Toys for Tot program even just said to me, what a sense of community here in Plum when we showed up with that. Because in that parade of vehicles, there was Plum Police, there was Plum EMS, Unity Volunteer Fire Department, Holiday Park Volunteer Fire Department, Renton. We all went in together because this was a program. There's a lot of different agencies, including all of them, Hannah Healthcare of Longwood Oakmont and Longwood Oakmont staff, residents, and their families. Concordia Ridgewood Place participated. The borough department here donated toys, and it was amazing to see everyone come together. So, we're looking forward to it again next year, and it's a fun experience. So, questions, comments, story to make me smile? All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it, Brian.
That's all I have, Mr. Doyle.
Thank you, Mr. Dern. Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the Planning and Economic Development Committee, the Planning Department issued 52 permits this month. The Planning Commission met and discussed 4 submissions, all of which were recommended with approval with conditions. Staff performed a pond compliance inspection at the Serenity Ridge Retention Ponds. Staff met with Allegheny County Conservation District and Boyce Park to discuss the water runoff issues and possible grant funding solutions. Staff performed a site plan inspection for our approved land development project on Davidson Road. Code enforcement completed 88 residential occupancy inspections and addressed 13 complaints. And the department awarded the demolition bid to the lowest bidder for the 2020 demolition contract. That is all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Taylor, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you all know, winter's here, so with that being said, the restrooms have been closed. Oh, sorry. As you all know, winter's here and the restrooms have all been closed and winterized at Larry Mills Park and Plum Creek Park. Phase 2 of the Renton Park Enhancement Project and the paving for the walking trail has been completed and landscaping will be installed as the weather permits. At the Plum Library, 3 dusk-to-dawn lights were installed at the rear of the building for added security, and the ADA door installation was completed on November 18th. Trash and recycling cart delivery and maintenance was ongoing throughout the month. On Boro Haps, as you probably have heard, the Christmas at Plum Creek was celebrated here at the new Municipal Center on Thursday, December 1st, with games and activities for the kids. Santa shop and a visit from Santa and some of his reindeer, and might I add, it was a very, very nice situation, and Santa was great too. And just want to say Merry Christmas, and that was a great job that our staff did on that night. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. That brings us to citizens' comments on non-agenda items. No one has signed up for that, but you're, Linda, please. Yep.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't going to speak.
No problem. It's on.
The red button? Okay. Linda Garlitz, 508 Anderson Avenue. I'd like to know how many residents still are members of the Stormwater Task Force currently? If you can name them.
Technically, everybody's a resident, but there's too many people not
On the task force?
Yeah.
There's 3 councilmen. Terry Seifers.
Dave Odom.
Dave Odom, who's chairman.
Ron.
Ron Costa. Tyson's there from KU. And Bill Benor from the Water Authority, but he hasn't been in the meeting, last couple of meetings.
Okay, well, I mean, I see the meeting agendas, and it doesn't look like Mr. Benora goes, Mike DiGilio. I'm just frustrated. Again, it's going to be 4 years next year. And, you know, we're worried about firing residents who really, I don't know what's going on with that situation. But nobody seems to care. Do we have any updates? We never get any updates. You know, I send emails and ask, and then you do talk about it, but I think that should be a monthly discussion. I know you don't have meetings every month, but I mean, do we have start dates for any, is there anything, did anything get purchased? We don't know what is going on.
They're still getting permits. It takes forever to get the permits.
For the major project, that's.
Yeah, for the Center Beach project.
That's under permit, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's, once you make that, you have to go through the process. And the staff really has been very responsive in doing things that are needed done for that. But, you know, there's nothing that happens quick when you get to bigger government. It's bad enough to go through us, but when you get to the state and then the federal government, it's a bureaucratic nightmare. And that's one of the frustrating things about being on this committee. We all want things to be done. You know I do.
I know you certainly do, yes.
And it's frustrating, but hopefully the end product will be worth the wait, and hopefully nobody gets flooded until that time, you know.
Well,
And the staff have met with the Turnpike Commission too, to discuss that bridge that they put in, because that's causing some of the backup, they come back up Anderson.
Yeah.
So that's been discussed for the last 2 months.
Yeah, they're trying to come up with a quicker fix for that, which doesn't take the permitting, but everything else does. And they're all in process. I can't tell you where they're at in the bureaucratic nightmare, but they're all in process. Everything, you know, some step in those other projects is in process.
Did the land get purchased that needed to be purchased for
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
That's all done?
Yes, and every time we send a permit in, they send it back with something else. I mean, it's happened probably a half dozen times at least in the past year, especially the Center Beach project.
Well, it just seems like, you know, we're firing people off this committee.
We're not firing people off of the project. We've had some issues with some of the land that we needed to purchase. A couple of the private owners had some concerns. And so we had to go through discussions with them.
All right.
That takes negotiations
Yeah.
also, you know, and then, like I say, there again, it just compounds the frustration. And I'm sorry for it, but please know that we have not stopped moving forward as fast as we possibly
No, and
can.
I understand that it is I mean, snail's pace is being kind. It's
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is being kind, you're right.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also, it's the same thing with the Oak Bluff project. We purchased the land, and then the owner had issues, so we had to go into discussions with them. And that's backtracked that too.
All right, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Any other citizens' comments on non-agenda items? Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion by Mr. Delaney, second by Mr. Vento. All in favor? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned.